Hello, I'm Fig Grace, and today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book Freakout tag video that I've been seeing so many people do. I really liked it, and I did not open the tab correctly. Okay, I'm very excited to do this. I'm super into I've been watching so many of the book Freakout tags videos, and they're so much fun to watch. I've enjoyed seeing everyone's wrap-ups, the mid-year wrap-ups. I've enjoyed seeing everyone's anticipated reads, which I know will be a weird segment for me in this video, so I thought we'll just jump right into it. Yeah, so I'm really excited. Also, I couldn't find a concise list of all of the questions online, so I'm just going to be using a list found on paperfury.com. I will link it down below. It is done by, is it just Paper Fury? Yeah, it's just done by somebody called Paper Fury. And I'm going to link it down below. It is from 2021. But I'm gonna just use those questions. So the first question is, how much have I read? And I believe I've read, oh, why do I always close my tabs? I have read, I think, 26 books this year. I'm just gonna refresh that to make sure. Yeah, I've read 26 books. I've also read 7,200 pages. So yeah, I'm ahead on my reading goals. I've also been reading mostly mysterious, lighthearted, emotional, or dark reads. Those are my moods right now on Storygraph. Storygraph gives you the moods of the books. If you've never used it before, it's actually really insightful. So I tend to go towards emotional, dark reads, and as well as very lighthearted, fluffy reads. And I've been reading a mixture of both of those this year. I've been reading mostly medium and fast-paced books. I tend to stay away from slow-paced books as they tend to just drag on to the point where I'm no longer interested, which, yeah, makes sense. They're slow-paced. And I've been reading mostly books between 300 and 500 pages, as well as mostly fiction. As for genres, I've been reading mostly YA, romance, LGBTQIA+, thriller, mysteries, and graphic novels. Graphic novels, I believe, because of Heartstopper, the series that I read, as well as a couple of the... Oh, what's the author's name? The Sunny Side Up books by Jennifer L. Holm and Matthew Holm. And as well as I read a couple romance books. I believe that Heartstopper counts as romance, so I think that's where that comes from, because I don't really read a lot of romance in my personal free time. But I did read a couple LGBTQIA+ books and a bunch of YA, and I'm really excited for those books that I've read this year. My least read genres are at least the ones I've read some of, have been crime, literary fiction, science fiction, and dystopian, which is weird because I feel like I have read a bunch of those books, but then again, my least read genres just don't show up at all, so there's tons of genres I just haven't even touched. The best book I've read so far in 2022 probably will have to come to either Last Night at the Telegraph Club, Verity by Colleen Hoover. Oh, Last Night at the Telegraph Club is by Melinda Lowe. Verity by Colleen Hoover, or The Rifle by Gary Paulson, which is such a short book that I think everyone should read it. I think those books are just really good. I really loved Last Night at the Telegraph Club. I have an entire video on that. I did not talk about Verity on the channel, but I did have a planned video. I may still make it. But Colleen Hoover tends to be one that people really enjoy. Although I would say if you're going to read Verity, check the content warnings. They're pretty graphic, and that book is not for the faint of heart. The Rifle is just a really good short read. It's so short. It's just a small little book, and the text is big, so I think everyone should read it. It's a good book. It's a good, sweet little book, and it made me cry a lot. So, yeah. The best sequel you've read so far in 2022. Ooh. I think the only sequels I've read were the Matched series, and I did not like those at all, and Heartstopper. And I think Heartstopper has to take the cake for that because I haven't read much other, although I've only read the second Heartstopper. I've not read 3 and 4 yet, just because I was going to buy them, and then I went into a book buying ban, which is going to last for a while, so I don't have 3rd and 4th Heartstopper. Although, if somebody wanted to buy me a 3rd and 4th Heartstopper, I wouldn't say no, I might be on a book buying ban, but that doesn't mean other people have to be on a book buying ban. New releases I have not read but want to read. I do not look at new releases. I walk into the bookstore blind. I haven't heard of any releases upcoming that I want to read that I think of, because I really don't look at new releases. There's been a couple books that people have said and I've been like, oh, I'd love to read that, but I don't read a lot of new releases. As well as the next question, number 6, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I don't look at new releases. I really don't. And I was trying to look at websites that are like, oh, books that are going to be released in July or August. And I'm like, I just don't know enough about releases, and I tend to not look at new releases. So I'm sure that a bunch of new releases will come out and I'll love them. But, oh, The Maid. That's what it was. My most anticipated release for the year that I haven't read yet was The Maid. I own the book now, thanks to Book of the Month, but I have not read it yet. So yeah, that. But most anticipated release for the second half of the year, I do not have one. So 7 is a book that's out of your comfort zone, and I think out of my comfort zone has to go to, oh, I have to look at my list. Let me just pull up my list of books I've read this year. I think one that would have been out of my comfort zone is Animal Farm by George Orwell. I was not expecting to read a classic this early in the year, which I know June is early in the year, but I just tend to not read classics till the last half of the year. And then I think another one that's out of my comfort zone would be I just tend not to read classics in general, so reading classics at all tends to be not something I do. And then another one that would be out of my comfort zone is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, another classic that I just didn't ever think I'd read, but if it's short, I will read it, and I did, and I did not like it. As well as Tea and Destiny by Cheryl Woods, which was a 1-star read from me. It's a romance novel. It's a very cliche paperback romance novel. This is not Tea and Destiny. This is one of the other romance novels that she's written, but it's like this. It's very much like you find it in an airport, but I didn't like it. I don't like things out of my comfort zone for the most part. Biggest surprise, number 8. Either Animal Farm or Last Night at the Telegraph Club were the biggest surprise for me. I did not expect to love either of these books as much as I did. They are both 5-star reads from me. Animal Farm was one really out of my comfort zone, and I loved it. Last Night at the Telegraph Club was not outside of my comfort zone, but I absolutely loved it and did not expect to love it as much as I did. I thought it'd be a little bit more cliche. I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was, and it was amazing, and I really want to reread it, even though I just barely read it. I'm already wanting to reread it so much. New favorite author or debut or new to you. I think I love Melinda Lowe's writing style. I really have been obsessed with, I really do want to read anything else she ever writes, and I believe there is another novel coming out it's called The Scatter of Light, and it's a companion novel set in 2013, and I'm so excited for that. So whenever that comes out, maybe that'll be my newest, my next release that I'm excited for. But I'm excited for that. I loved her writing style in this. And then I loved Alice Oseman. I don't know how to say her name. But I really loved her work, and I'm excited to read more Heartstopper. So yeah. 10 underrated gems you've discovered recently. This is one that I don't think other people have on their questionnaires, but I'm using somebody else's questions. So I think Last Night at the Telegraph Club is a good underrated gem. I think it's really good. But for the most part, I think all the other ones that I find really good are talked about. Heartstopper's talked about. Golden Couple I really loved. It's pretty great, but I don't know if it's for everyone, so I'm not gonna say it's underrated. I think if you are into thrillers and murder mysteries, you've heard about it possibly. Yeah, I think most of the books I read tend to be talked about pretty much, because I try to read stuff that people talk Rereads. I've not had any rereads. I've planned about 7 rereads this year, and I have read absolutely 0 of them. So, yeah. A book that made you cry. Last night at the Telegraph Club, I sobbed at that ending. And it was so sad at the end. I really recommend that book, but be prepared at the end for a little bit of sadness. And then a book that made you happy. I'm gonna say, ooh, book that made me happy. I don't want to say Heartstopper because I've already mentioned that a lot, but I think it might be Heartstopper, or She Drives Me Crazy by Kelly Quinlan. I really liked that book. I listened to it in an audiobook, and it made me super happy. It's just a very light, fluffy, sapphic romance, and it was so cute, and I loved it, and I loved the little, like, the just, oh, it was so cute. There were so many cute little, like, tropes in there. I thought that was really good. The most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. Okay. Alright. I think this book, the month version of this, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, is gorgeous. The Cemetery Boys, I just think has an amazing cover, so I love the cover of it. And then I just love the bookends are like yellow, if you can see that, and they're gorgeous. Yeah, I have content warnings in the front of my books now, so that's what that is. And then I received this copy of Inkheart from a lovely woman on Instagram who sent it. She was selling books, so as long as you just paid postage. And I believe this is like a special edition for something, but it's just a really pretty book. I think it's really gorgeous. It's got like a lot of detailing in the cover, and it's very shiny. It is a UK paperback, which are notoriously stiff. They don't really have any floppiness to them, which is annoying, because I'm a big floppy paperback fan, but I really do think it's a pretty book. And then goals for the rest of the year. I want to read the 30 books that I set out to read at the beginning of the year. Obviously, I'm going to get that goal. I want 4 more books. But I also want to read 10,000 pages. Right now I'm at 7,200, so I think I can get to that 10,000 goal. And then I think that's really my only goals. I would love to read more classics as well as more fantasy. But other than that, I think I'm really excited for what I've done this year, and I'm really happy with what I've done this year. So, yeah, I'm so excited. So, I think that is the end of the video. I am really excited for what I've done. I hope to see, if you are reading BookTuber, please do this challenge. It's so much fun to do, and I really like seeing all the videos. And if you do it, you should, yeah, just post it so I can see it, because I love seeing this. Yeah, I think that's gonna be the end of this video. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, Storygraph, Goodreads, whatever social medias you use. Feel free to subscribe, like the video, comment down below any of these books that you've read. I didn't see, oh, okay, there was one question. The biggest disappointment this year is a question a lot of people did, and I didn't do it because I thought I didn't remember to do it. My biggest disappointment this year is Cinderella's Dead. Cinderella's Dead. I thought it was going to be really good. I didn't like it. Possible video coming out on that one, so we'll see. We'll see about that. I claimed that The Family Plot was the most disappointing book I've read all year, and then I read that, and I was like, oh no, I have another disappointment. So, yeah. Other than that, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in another one, and happy reading!